kumbaya here.
Yeah. Steph, go.
Deep in the album.
Here we go.
Welcome back to the pop station. The Stockwell Roche Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
I'm John Van Hall with Remax Results.
We have Melissa DeLay, so hopefully you've heard some of the segments before. If not, go to the Patriot Station. You can download them there on the podcast, or go to Facebook, Stockwell Roche, or YouTube, and you can see the videos of all of us on there. We're having a great time. So Melissa DeLay's here with True Perception.
That's right.
And Stephanie Havel with Wells Fargo, Chelsea Sonderland with Remax Results, Team Stockwell. And we're having a great show giving you tips and valuable information in your business life and your personal life. And I am still taking it all in, trying to figure out, and also going back in time thinking how many mistakes I've made, and adding them up in my head and said, I could have done that differently. Maybe I would have saved that. Maybe it would help that. And how I can do it going forward without falling into the same habit, which I've been taught since I've been, according to Melissa, second and third grade, and how I can not be on autopilot and just start typing these emails again and then catching myself later wishing it was different. So we'll get into more about that.
Yeah, or even I think what's so interesting that we talked about in the last segment was that you said we write these long, huge narratives that have all these unnecessary words. And so this morning, Jason talked about earlier how we had a meeting and talked about this. And this hit so close to home with me. So you had this little snippet, and it's, all right, here we go. I'm going to read something for you guys.
Okay.
So here's the little story. After booking a ticket to Dallas from a travel agent, I packed my bags and arranged for a taxi to the airport. Once there, I checked in, went through security, and was ready to board. But problems beyond my control led to a 3-hour delay before takeoff.
Woo! That's a lot of content. Now,
that's a lot of
how
content.
could you, Stephanie, how could you shorten that?
I'm going to Denver. I got my bags packed. I'm on the way.
Very close. Very close.
That's
How about
pretty
you,
good.
John? What would you say?
I ran into some issues at the airport, but I'm on my way there.
All right.
It's pretty good.
Pretty close. My flight to Dallas was delayed 3 hours. That's the only thing that's important in that particular segment of content. And you can do it. It's basically a writing exercise. If you Google, writing exercises, you'll find content and you can read and see, all right, how can I cut every single unnecessary word? We think the bad news and the conflict and the trouble that we went through.
I feel like I have
I have to tell
Right.
you that all these terrible things happened to me. But unfortunately, that impacts your perception points. They go down instead of going up.
So keep in mind, this is different. Real side note: if I'm communicating with my wife, then I'll go into all these details for sure, because she's someone who will listen to me, as Melissa said on the pendulum, that will care about what's going on. But if
She
this
might,
is, she might.
She might.
Hopefully she cares. She does.
But if
She's
this
a sweetheart.
Yeah, I
but
know.
this email goes out in business a lot. This type of email.
Oh, yes.
If it's in business and it's your client, they don't care about any
None of it.
this.
Right.
All they care about is what you said.
Yeah,
right?
and
Getting to the point,
So what I talk
basically.
about is word count. The only person that should get a 700-word email from you is your grandma, right? And maybe Jason's wife, because
No,
that's
she won't have time for that.
That's the only. If somebody really knows you and they care about you, they will invest time to read 700 words. If you've never met a person, I say you get 100 words.
Well, and I'm going to digress a little bit on online dating
All right,
profiles.
let's go there.
'Cause
Let's do it.
Yes.
Hey, it's Valentine's Day.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was a happy I have felt love with my family on Valentine's. But
Wonderful.
I agree, though, when I see these online dating profiles and they're on and on, I do this and whatever. Do you like to do this? Do you like to do this? Let's get to the point. What are our mutual interests? When they go on and on about their fishing and their job and their divorce and their kids.
Well,
it's
the
like,
one good thing about that, Stephanie, is that if somebody goes on, and I this is actually a quote by Maya Angelou, who I have adored all of my
Love
life.
Maya Angelou.
I do too.
My God.
She said, when you first meet somebody, they'll tell you exactly who they are. You just have to listen. So the good news about somebody, bless his heart, on an online profile that's going on and telling you every last thing under the sun, that's a red flag. Maybe not emotionally healthy.
Right.
He's telling me who he is. Run, right? So
they show up and they throw up.
Yeah.
Listen to your intuition.
Now, what I will say, because I know a lot of single guys that are online, and occasionally, because of the work I'm in, I might go on Facebook and say, all right, guys, just today only, send me a link to your profile. I'll take a look at it. And these are people that I know. And I know that they're not crazy. I know that they're emotionally healthy.
Maybe I should get that list from you after the
Right,
show.
right. I will get you that list. Right?
We'll talk afterwards, okay?
But they struggle with how to communicate, and so I look
Isn't
at their
that
profile.
just men in general?
It's women too.
Hey, now.
Great.
No, it's
John and I
women
are
too.
sitting over here, guys.
No, it's women too. It's women too.
Right.
Women have a tendency to preserve relationships. So they're going to go into a lot of ooey gooey information so that you know that I care about you. I'm gonna in fact, I'm gonna be a little soft. I'm probably not always gonna get to the truth with you. Men have more of a tendency to kind of get to the point, and sometimes they need to soften the edges a little more. So when I talk with audiences, I say, men, you're great at spilling the truth. I want you to get the truth out, but you need to be considerate too. Women, you're great at being lovey-dovey and all considerate, but you gotta get the point in there because we can't find it. Bless your heart and all of that. And both men and women struggle with my third criteria for really effective communication, and that's objectivity. There's two sides to the story, John. There's your side and there's my side. And whatever I convey to you about what's happening, I have to take into account what you think about it and what I think. Sometimes it's inferred and sometimes it's actually spoken.
It's hard to do that because you're always looking at it from your side, and especially if you're in an argument, you want to win the argument, so you don't want to look at it from the other side. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but you win more when you allow the other person to have their say. And I'll just give you a really trivial example. I use this one a lot. Say somebody approaches you and they want to go to coffee, and you're thinking, I don't have time for coffee, and I really don't want to go to coffee with you. But you think, okay, what are my options? Maybe I'll just say, I'm not really doing coffee right now. Probably not true. That's probably not spilling the truth, because if a client or an old friend calls you, you're going to go to coffee, and all of a sudden, John, you might see me at coffee, and now what have I done to my reputation?
Ruined
Damaged it.
At the same time, I don't want to be, okay, sure, and now I'm going to coffee that I didn't want to go to, and now I'm a doormat, right?
Sure.
And I don't want to do this either. Okay, yeah, call me, and then I just ignore his call, because none of this is going to be good for your reputation. So what I show people how to do is, how do you spill the truth and keep your reputation favorable? So it's got to be good for you, and it's got to be good for me.
Absolutely.
And I might say, John, right now my schedule is hectic, and I am committing to staying really focused on clients, but I do want to get to know you better. How about we look at our calendars and we see if there's a networking event that we're both going to, and that way we can connect there, right? So I haven't burnt any bridges. I haven't said no. I am just saying yes to me. Right? I'm not saying no to John. I'm
Correct.
saying yes to me.
And you're not lying and making up a lie like,
Right.
I don't
And
do
this
coffee
is
right now,
what
or
I want to get across to your listeners more than anything else. We are not at the mercy of another person. We are not waiting to see if somebody is being kind to us or not, or if they're willing to reply to us or not. We are not at the mercy. We have complete control, and we can come in from a position of power, and we use our power for good, not for evil, right? We can come from a position of power in every single circumstance, whether I have to tell you something you don't want to hear, whether I need to say yes to me and reroute the requests that you're making. I don't want people sitting on committees that they don't want to be on. I don't want people saying yes to a service provider that doesn't make sense to them. I want to show people you can say no and have it work out really well for
And
you.
that ties into one thing that Melissa said at our training, which was number 1, tell the truth. Number 2, be kind. And number 3, be objective.
Right.
So I have a question for you folks out there, if you're listening. How many of you write your subject lines? In your subject line, have you written following up, checking in? What's another one, Melissa?
Touching base.
Touching base. Okay, following up, checking in, touching base. If you've ever written those in your subject line emails, or you are currently doing so, you need to go to Melissa's.
Yep, you can check out smartmailforsales.com.
Smartmailforsales.com, or go to our Facebook page. We'll have more information there, but there's very powerful information that you're missing out on by having those subject lines. Thank you, Melissa DeLay, Stephanie Havel, Wells Fargo, Chelsea Sonderland, Team Stockwell. I'm Jason Stockwell, Remax Results.
I'm John Van Hall, Remax Results.
We'll be back next week. Remember, love yourself and love others. Have a great week, folks.